Thank you very much, Priyanka. How are you doing, guys? Great. So today I can either give you a presentation on transitioning from university to work or on glaciers, beach festies, sexual. What do you guys want? Okay, so my name is Fabian and I am a chief geologist for Cecil Mining. And I recently joined the Bridge the Gap mentorship program as a mentor, industry mentor. And I was asked by Priyanka and the team to come give you guys a talk on the transition from university to work. Okay. Just by a show of hands, how many of you guys are first year students? None? Second year? Honors, third year? And honors? Yes. Okay. So I'm pitching to the right audience, first of all, because third year and honors, you guys are more closer to the job market than a first and a second year. So that's great. Is there anyone that has an expectation for the talk today so that I know if I'm going to cover it? You can just lift your hand up and tell me, I hope that I hear this in this presentation. Anyone? Nobody? Okay. Then after the presentation, if you have any questions, my email will be on the last slide. Please feel free to pop me an email if you have a question. Okay. Okay, so a little bit about me. You guys study here, and I work here. So I live in Secunda. It's about 2 hours away from here, 160 k's away from Wits. And I work for a company called Cecil. Cecil is a global company. It's a petrochemical company. But I work for a leg of Cecil called Cecil Mining. And Cecil Mining is responsible for mining coal to support the plant operations for the plant to be able to manufacture thousands of products and fuel that we guys use on an everyday basis. I am a chief geologist for Cecil Mining, as I've said. I completed my BSc honors in 2008 at Wits, so I'm a Witsie. Of course. Sitting in this very room. I have 8 years work experience, so I started working in 2009. Okay. And one of the things that I love doing is teaching, mentoring, and coaching. I found it as a passion when I started working. I always wanted to be an academic. Some part of me wanted to be an academic, but I had a bursary with Cecil, and I went to Cecil working for them. So I had to find a way to incorporate what I love, which is teaching, mentoring, coaching, into my job. And I was fortunate enough to actually end up loving coal, the coal geology of Cecil. So I found a way to integrate the two, and that enables me to give you a presentation like this because part of my experience is to teach, mentor, and coach. Okay. So I'm a mentor for Cecil, not just Cecil Mining, I'm a mentor for Cecil itself. I run one-on-one mentors with a few of people, and I run a mentorship circle. So I have a group of about 8 or 9 people, and we meet bi-monthly, every 2 months, and we discuss a topic that I put forward to that team. Okay. I'm also responsible for training geologists. So every year I get a new graduate. I'm currently the only mine geologist that gets a new person every year. I was fortunate enough last year to get a lady by the name of Megan Naidu, who graduated from Wits with geophysics. She went through me for a year. And I'm even more fortunate to get Minal Manga this year, who recently graduated in geochemistry. So they have come Megan has come through the ranks with me. Minal has started out with me. So I'm very glad to be able to teach young students, teach graduates, and it also helps me to be able to pitch my presentations and my talks accordingly, because you guys, as you come into the industry, tell me and show me what you need and what type of skill sets we have to modify in order to accommodate you. Okay. In Cecil, I do facilitate workshops on business presentation and communication skills and workplace professionalism. So one of the things that I've decided to do, to take on myself, is to separate the geology from some of the other stuff that I love and make presentations and workshops which I teach and give to young graduates that come into our company. And I feel that these type of presentations have really helped our graduates to be more successful because they have a skill set from the beginning for them to grow in the company. And most importantly, I'm a roller coaster and superhero fanatic. So whenever I'm presenting and I'm very nervous, I wear my superhero socks. Okay. So that enables me to talk in front, to be more confident, to exude a bit more confidence. And that's something that I found with presenting a lot, being more professional, finding a way for myself to be more comfortable to talk in front of an audience. Okay, so what do I do? No, I don't do all of this. Luckily. These are some of the subsets of geology, and you might recognize a few of them. Okay, so where do I have my foot in geology, in CESOL? So the stuff highlighted in green: economic geology, mining geology, geochemistry, geological modeling, some geophysics, some hydrogeology, paleobotany, lots of sedimentology, lots of stratigraphy, and lots of structural geology. Okay. So that just goes to show we're not just, when you move out of university industry, you lose geology. You still are a geologist, you still do geology, you have your foot in a few things, so you don't lose that aspect of what you studied. However, with that being said, you are also a few things. You are a manager and a leader. You have to manage people, and you have to lead people. There's a difference between managing and leading. Managing, you take a person, you give them the skill sets, and you allow them to grow. A leader has a vision. So I have to have a vision for that person coming in, so they can see how can they grow with the company for the future. I don't want my graduate to leave within 3 years. I want them to stay with the company and grow with the company. So I have to lead them. Okay. I'm also a bit of a drafts person. Okay, so I had to learn some skills in drafting. Not something I learned at university. I'm a bit of a business analyst. I have to work with scenarios where I have to analyze, see if the situation is going to work out, make a call, see if it's financially viable, economically viable. I have to be a bit of an accountant as well. As a geologist in industry, I have a budget. I have to stick to that budget. I have to make sure I spend the money. If I'm given 100,000 Rand for drilling, I have to make sure I use that 100,000 Rand, because the next year, if I don't, they're going to say, we gave you 100,000, you didn't use all of it. Why must we give you the same amount of money again? So a bit of accounting involved, making sure that you work with a budget and work effectively with it. I'm also a bit of a mediator. A geologist, unfortunately, sometimes in industry is the person that they blame first. So when something goes wrong, it's the geologist's fault. Okay. Why? Because geology is the base at which anything else is built on, at a mine, for instance. Okay, you cannot have a mine without geology, correct? Okay, so they blame you, and it becomes normal after a while. You learn to handle it, you learn to become confident and answer them. So you have to mediate between different departments to say, you're saying this is my evidence, let me present it forward to you, and you mediate and you try and get an answer so that everyone is satisfied. You're also a bit of a sangoma. You have to throw the bones lots of times, make a prediction, okay? Because part of geology is making predictions. You have to make a guess, an educated guess. You're a bit of a gambler. At times you have so little information, you have to go with a gut feel, and you take a gamble. And it might not work out, or it might work out. And you have to be a bit of a teacher. No matter how young or old a person is, they're always willing, or most people are willing to learn something, so you might have to be teaching someone something, geologically or not geologically. So with this slide, I'm just trying to show you that once you move into industry, you're not just a geologist, you are a bit more than that. Lots of graduates come in thinking they can use their geology skills, start working immediately as a geologist. It is not true. In industry, you are a whole lot more. Geology is a component. Okay, a large component at that, no doubt, but it's also just a component of a few other things. Okay, so where can you work after you graduate? Okay, BSc Honours is kind of seen as the new matric these days. Okay, yes. I can tell you a story with CESOL, with the bursaries in CESOL. A chemistry bursary 9 years ago, the highest that they would pay for is a honours. The highest that they pay for now is a master's. Master's has become compulsory for chemistry. So things change. Degrees become the new norm. Certain degrees become the new norm. For us, honours is the new norm. Okay. You can go into academics, as you would know. You can stay, study further, work in academics. You can go into industry, that's where I am, or you can go into consulting. Okay, so when I started in 2009, I was fortunate enough to have done VAC works with CESOL because I was a bursary student with them from matric. But it did not prepare me enough for that first few weeks on the job. Because with VAC work, you go home, you come back to your family, you come back to your friends, your colleagues, to university, life goes on. But when you start actually working, it's a bit different. Lots of stuff is taken away. Okay, so the first point there, I was lonely. Why was I lonely? I had to start on the 2nd of January, which means I had to move on the 1st of January. So I had to wave my mom goodbye, pulling out of the driveway on New Year's Day. Okay, so you can imagine how that feels. I looked like someone's child, definitely didn't dress well, didn't look the part, looked like some weird nerd coming out of varsity. Someone even asked me underground, am I the manager's son? Okay. I was not the manager's son, I was legitimately working there. And of course, I looked like a bit of a pushover. Okay, because I was new, people didn't really know me. They were trying to gauge what buttons can they push with me? What can they tell me that could make me angry or sad, trying to gauge where they can stand with me. So I felt like I was a bit of a pushover. I didn't have a laptop for the first few days. And people think when they start working, all the tools are going to be there. Not true. When you start working in industry, sometimes it takes a while because of all the red tape for things to happen. So you might get your tools and equipment only within the first month, after the first month of working. So I didn't have a laptop when I started working. So I had to find something to do. I was a bit bored. People were running around, not giving me the attention I thought I was going to get. When I did get a laptop, I did something called replying to all. Okay. I had a program called Microsoft Outlook, which is the standard email program that we use. And I got a spam email that was sent to the whole of CESOL. And I pressed the reply to all button. And I said, why are you sending this to me? And it got sent to the whole of CESOL, all its thousands of employees. And my email service was suspended for a month. Because no one teaches you when you start working about something called Outlook, for instance. Okay, so you learn the hard way. I had to use Gmail when I started working. I had to do a double take on my payslip. Okay, so what I thought I was going to get and what I actually got was not the same. Okay, and I'll explain to you in some slides later on. But there's a whole lot of things that go on in that payslip between your gross salary and your net salary. Okay, and it's very important to know that. And I was also exhausted at the end of the day because we were working 7 to 5 every day and 2 Saturdays a month. Right now I work 7:30 to 4:30 with no Saturdays. But as a graduate, you think you can cope in industry or consulting or academics if you're working with the times because you think you can work late hours. You know, from studying, you could study till 1 in the morning. You were perfectly fine for your exam the next day until you start working every single day from 7 to 5 or whatever hours your company is going to be. And on a Friday, you cannot take it. Like, you just go home and you slump in your chair. You cannot even get up from that. You're so tired. Okay, but I was also all of those words: excited, energetic, friendly, impressionable, meticulous, inquisitive, enthusiastic, eager, and so on and so on. Okay, so I gave you some of the, I would say a little bit of the bad, but because I was new, because I wanted to make an impression, I was energetic, I wanted to work there, I wanted people to see who I am, I wanted to make a difference. So I tried my best, and I think I was successful up until now to do that. Okay, so I'm going to give you my top 10 things to help make your shift easier into the working environment. So if you're going to get a job, if you're going to get a bursary, what do I think with my experience and some interviews that I did with certain people to help you make that transition easier. There is something called adulting. Do you know what that word means? Not adultery, adulting. Okay. Yes, it's a new word, a new buzzword. It means growing up. Okay. And unfortunately, or fortunately, when you start working, you have to become an adult. Okay. Okay, the first thing, good results matter. Okay, marks are used as a filter. For graduates and for bursaries, we use marks as a filter. Okay? You have no experience, we have nothing else to compare you to. The only thing that you have is marks. Okay? And good results will separate you from the rest. And if you get good results, we think, or we kind of assume it's because you put a lot of effort in it, so when you start working for us, you're going to do the same. So bear in mind, guys, very important. Do your best, good results matter, that's all we have to compare you to. You don't have no work experience. So you can understand, we cannot go on experience. We have to go on marks. Okay? Secondly, you need to get your driver's license if possible. Not so important if you're going to get a bursary, it's not really required. Very important if you're going to start working in industry or consulting or as an academic, you're getting your driver's license. I have not seen an advert yet where a Code 8 driver's license is not required for a graduate opportunity. And if it's not in that advert, I would wonder why. Because you have to get yourself to work somehow, right? Okay? A license does allow you to buy a car within the first few months of working. So once you earn a salary, you cannot buy a car without having a license, obviously. Okay? And like that statement said, someone told me, we don't want to be chauffeuring you around when you start working. We have a job to do. I have a job. I cannot be transporting graduates up and down to work. Okay, we expect you to grow up and get your license. It also allows you to drive a company vehicle. In academics, if you want to do your master's, for instance, and you need to do some field work, and you need to take the bakkie, you don't have a driver's license, who's going to take you? As well as in consulting and in the industry. Sometimes I have to drive the company vehicle. Yesterday I went on a 4x4 course because our buckets are 4x4 and we have to go to the field. And if I didn't have a license, or a graduate, for instance, Minil, for instance, that's working with me, if she didn't have a license, she would miss out on an opportunity. Okay, so it allows you to drive a company vehicle and definitely creates a sense of independence. When you get a license, you are independent, you can go where you need to go. If we send you somewhere, we have no issues with it. Okay, so if you can, while at varsity, try your best to get a license. I know it's sometimes not financially viable for everybody, but if it is, try your best to get it. It really does make a difference. Okay, excuse me. Next thing is becoming financially savvy. You can start learning about finances, basic finances, while at university. You don't need to start working to understand certain financial concepts. You can Google, get onto Google, type in something, and someone has written something in a simple way for you to understand. Okay. So when you start working, there is an entity called SARS. Have you heard about SARS before? Yeah? And SARS wants to take your money. Okay, so your company wants to pay you something, and SARS comes and says, sorry, we also have to take care of the rest of South Africa. I'm going to take a portion of your money. And the portion that they take is dependent on what salary you earn. The more you earn, the more they take. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, it's up to 40%. So if you're earning, for example, 10,000 Rand, sorry, not 10,000, let me think of a person earning quite a bit. Say you earn 100,000 Rand a month. They will take 40,000 Rand. Yes. Okay, but they might give you some money back with something called a tax return. Guys, okay, quiet down. They might give you something back with something called a tax return. Okay, so when you start working, the taxman takes your money, but at some point during the year, you have to do something called a tax return, and you might get some money back from them that they owe you. Okay, but they do take your money every month. Also, what you think you're going to earn is not what you end up earning. Very important to note. Not all companies will have an automatic deduction for medical aid and pension and. Sasol fortunately has that, so it's taken off my salary before I even know it. Other companies, you have to go and source a medical aid, you have to go and source a pension fund, you have to go and source insurance, those type of things. So don't think you're going to get X amount, you can go partying with that money. There's a lot of stuff that you need to think about before you can do that. Okay. Like I said here, learn as much as you can about finances, credit, taking out a loan for a car, for instance, savings and investment accounts. I mean, we now have tax-free savings accounts in all banks. Learn about them. So when you start working, you understand some of those basic concepts. So it's not taught to you at varsity, and it's not taught to you when you start working. It's assumed that you just know. Okay, and you have to do the work for yourself. And very importantly, one of the first things that I preach to a graduate, and that I've done for myself since day one, is pay yourself first. When you get a salary, when you get a stipend, when you get any sort of money, pay yourself first. Put a bit away in a bank account for yourself for a rainy day. Don't spend it all. Okay. So even though you're getting a salary, it's yours, but there's so much expenses, so many people are going to take money from you. First, put away something for yourself. Okay? The next thing that could help you is becoming computer literate. Okay. We expect you in industry and in consulting and I think academics to at least know Microsoft Office, the very basic, Word, PowerPoint, and some Excel. Okay? However, when you start working in industry, over time you would find that you would want to become more advanced in those type of programs, which university doesn't teach you, and you might have to go for a course. But if you can, and you are good at something like Excel, it brings something to the table. If you can already start learning about the more advanced concepts of Microsoft Office. Okay. Some computer applications, such as ArcGIS, for instance, are universal. So if you are doing your honors and you have a job afterwards, there's a chance that if you're doing ArcGIS with your honors, you might also use it in industry, and you might find the transition quite smooth with the program. Okay. However, a lot of other programs you will learn when you start working. Okay. If you can program, you may have an added advantage. We see, especially at Cecil, people who can program know the application behind the scenes. They can go into the application, they can modify it and tweak it to a point where it is much more efficient. So if you have the ability and the know-how to program, please put it on your CV if you can. Okay, it is an added advantage. Okay. And PowerPoints and emails are king in industry. You will hear people say, I sent you the email, you should have known what to do. We presented it in the PowerPoint, why don't you know? Okay. It's normal talk in industry. So you need to know how to write an email, and you need to know how to compile a PowerPoint, because it's the normal way we communicate in industry. We don't have time to go face-to-face to everybody. We send an email. We don't have time to go and sit in someone's office. We present to a large group of people via PowerPoint. Okay, so it's important that you start learning how to conduct, how to make a PowerPoint and how to write up an email. Okay, the next point is cleaning up your online activities. Does everyone here have LinkedIn? Who doesn't have LinkedIn? Nobody. Okay. Hi, Sue.
Hi, sorry.
It's okay. It's important that you start cleaning up your online activities. So the first thing I encourage is to get a LinkedIn profile. It will be blank. It might be very bare. You might have one or two things on there, but it's a start for you to start populating it. It is an online CV. Okay. Get LinkedIn. Okay. Those pics of you on drunk field trips, watch out. It's funny. You put it on Facebook, you put it on Instagram. It is a public platform. We can go view it and we can see the type of personality maybe that you are having. It doesn't look good. Okay, so watch what you post online. Very important. Some companies and recruiters may use your social media as a filter for applications. If it's public profile, why not? Okay, it is public. You're allowing someone to look into it. Taking selfies and a whole lot more, the way you might be using social media at university, needs to stop when you start working. We don't encourage you to be on your phone all the time, taking pictures of yourself, posting online. If I give you a task and I know it's going to take 4 or 5 hours, and I log on to Facebook and I see, for instance, you started posting some update about what you ate, I will start questioning, is this person really working or is this person online? Okay, so be careful what you post online, really. Public profiles, recruiters can use them. Becoming an expert in something or good at something really can benefit a graduate. So having that distinguishing skill can set you apart from the rest. Okay, so you need to, in your 3, 4 years that you're studying up until your honors, really go and introspect and ask yourself, what am I good at? It might not be something in geology specifically. It might be something that popped out of what you're studying. For example, everything is popping up here. You might be good at networking, teaching, Toastmasters, which is speaking up in front of people, presenting, as well as some of the geological stuff. You need to know what are you good at. Okay. It sets you apart. Like I said in the beginning, marks is used as a filter. Where you have no experience, we use marks to filter. This is another possible way to make yourself stand out. If you can tell us what are you good at. Okay. With that being said, don't also oversell yourself. Okay. If you know how to use basic MATLAB, for example, don't put advanced on a CV. You will get caught out. Okay, so don't oversell yourself. Be honest about what you're good at as well. Okay, so I would encourage introspect, find out what you're good at, and see how you can work on that to make it better. Okay, I can give you another example. Megan Naidu, my junior geologist last year, she was good at geophysics. So I utilized her to a full extent. Anything geophysics, I passed on to her because I'm not good at geophysics. She is. So why not? She's a skill. Now I have Minal Manga. Minal Manga is good at geochemistry. Anything geochemical related, I'm going to ask her to do or give her that type of experience because I know she studied geochemistry. She got her honors in geochemistry. Why not? Okay. Similarly, people come to me if they need a presentation to students at Cecil Mining. They'll come to me. Because I'm good at doing that. I make presentations, I mentor and coach. So find out what you're good at. Very important. Okay, communication. Everyone knows how to communicate. And most people think they know how to communicate, but it doesn't work the same that you think you know in industry. When you start working, there is something called a hierarchy. You will report to someone, and someone might report to you. Okay, and who you report to above you also reports to someone, to someone, to someone. There might be 10 people above reporting in that reporting structure. So you are just a small aspect. Okay, so you need to know where you fit in so that you understand how do you communicate in that sphere where you fit in. So the next point that I have here, communicating upwards to your boss, laterally to your colleague, and downwards to someone that you're managing is different. Okay, I cannot talk to my boss the same way I can talk to Minal. Minal reports to me, and I report to my boss. I cannot do that. It has to be different because my boss has more experience. Minal doesn't, or Megan doesn't, or whoever comes under me doesn't. It's a different way. Same with my colleague. I can joke with my colleague. I might not be able to joke with my boss. Okay, so you need to know where you sit, who you report to, who reports to you, who's your colleague, so you can alter the communication to make it as effective as it can be wherever you're sitting. English is typically the standard language in industry, but don't expect people to always speak English. Okay. Where I work, I go underground. Not everyone can speak English. Not everyone can speak Afrikaans. Some people can only speak Fanagalo, and I have no idea how to understand Fanagalo. So I have to take my assistant with and ask him to help me interpret. Okay, so don't think that you're studying in English, you're going to go there, you're going to use all this jargon, these high words, people are going to be like, wow, this person is so intelligent. People are going to ask you, what are you saying? Simplify it for us, please. Okay, it's not going to work in industry. You need to be able to simplify when you start working. Okay, You will encounter extremes, and that alludes to communication. An introvert to an extrovert, someone that doesn't want to present, doesn't want to go to meetings, just want to sit in an office and do his or her work. Whereas you're going to meet someone that wants to say, hey, send me to that presentation, I want to present, I'm good at it, I want to meet people. You'll find people in that sphere. You'll find people that's arrogant, that think they know it all. And they might. They might. If you're arrogant and you know it all, why not? To people who's very humble, people that can't look you in the eye, people that no matter how good they are, they have great qualifications, do a great work, but they don't show it off. And you want them, please, you need to stand up and tell people what you're doing. You find people like that, and it can become frustrating, but you learn that they're very humble. You can get lazy, just like in group work, you find that one person doesn't want to do anything. Same, and when you start working, there will always be someone that does not want to do the work in the time that you give it, and then you have to somehow manage it. To the energetic, you'll find people that has too much energy, and you say, calm down, don't worry, we'll get through it. It doesn't have to be done in today, you have the whole month to do it, okay? Boring to friendly, people that don't want to talk, people who don't drink a cup of coffee, people who are friendly, chatty. And then rude to friendly, you find a lot of rude people. In industry, where I work in mining, there's rude people. It comes with the territory. People that will call you names, people that will tell you off, people that will swear. But you build a skin and you learn to answer, and you studied geology, you know what evidence you have for it, you back yourself up. Okay, to the friendly. And lastly on this slide, you will have to learn how to speak on the phone and write an email. Speaking to your friend or your mother or father on the phone while you're at varsity is not the same as speaking to a colleague laterally upwards or downwards at work. Okay. So if I answer the phone, it'll be, good day, it's Fabian speaking. How can I help you? So the person already knows who I am. They call the right department, it's Fabian, or they can already start saying, sorry, wrong number, instead of us trying to figure out what this person wants. So you have to learn, there's certain skills and techniques and ways of answering the phone. Same with an email. Emails, you don't have a tone. Emails, there's no one speaking. So someone can misinterpret the tone of an email and things can blow up in your face. So there's a technique and an art to writing an email as well. Okay, you have to earn trust when you start working. Do you see this saying here? Your degree gets you in the door. After that, you're essentially someone's minion. Okay? But you have to learn and establish yourself before you can propose changes or improvements. Okay? We don't expect you to come in with your big ideas and expect to implement it. It doesn't work that way. You need to do the work that you're given. Over time, that will come. So you are new. Your degree was just a key to get you into that door. Okay? You studied something, you unlocked the door, you went through, you have a job now. Okay, and people will not trust you fully. As a geologist, people will actually never trust you. Because geology, like I said, is a predictive science out there. So you're predicting things, sometimes it's not there. And when it's not there, that's all they remember. You told us it was there, it's not there, what's going on? Or, you told us that it was not there and we found something, what the hell? So they remember the wrongs that happen and the times where you predict incorrectly. So people tend not to trust you. You have to build that trust over time. Okay. There will be people with no education that will know much more than you. Definitely, 100%. My assistant, when I started, has I think he's grade 7. That's his highest. But he's working for 15 to 20 years, and he showed me the ropes. He pulled me around underground. He showed me what to do. So there will be those type of people. And you need to humble yourself when you're talking to those people because they know more than you. The last thing you want to do is go underground, use those jargon, convoluted geology words to someone that is working more than you, and that person actually knows more than you, and they school you. They tell you, sorry, that's not how it actually is. Okay. You will be doing the work that nobody else wants to do. You will be doing what we call the donkey work when you start out. Okay, that's part of being a graduate. I had to do the same thing. What does it teach you? It teaches you how to make the process more efficient. So when I started out, there was processes that I had to do that I was like, really, I can't believe I had to shove coal into a bag. until I found the easiest way to shove coal into a bag and told people how to do it, for instance. Okay, so there will be stuff that you will do that you might not like, but it's part of growing up and a part of being a graduate in industry, in consulting, and sometimes in academics. You will do that work that no one else wants to do. But guys, there is something called delayed gratification. You will reap the rewards over time. You just need to give it a chance. I can attest to that. In the beginning, it's not easy. But now I can stand here and say, I'm very happy with my career so far, how I've grown, the money that I've earned, the position I'm in, because I've done all the hard work, I've improved the processes as I came through the ranks, and now I'm at a place where I can tell people how to do stuff more efficiently. Okay. So that reward will come. Don't be that graduate that comes into industry and expects you to be paid a certain amount, do a certain job, manage people, tell people what to do. It doesn't work like that. Again, you will be schooled. Okay. Right, getting thrown in the deep end is a very real thing when you start working. If you thought studying, you are thrown in a deep end, you don't know what to do, you're flunking, maybe, hopefully not, but you're struggling. When you start working, it might be even worse. Because people don't have the time, as they do at varsity, to teach you. People expect you to do a job. Okay. So it's okay to feel overwhelmed. There's nothing wrong with feeling overwhelmed. Everyone does it. I still feel overwhelmed at times. There's nothing wrong with it. If you are very fortunate, if you land a job and are fortunate enough, you might be given a training schedule. So you know exactly over the course of a certain time what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be learning, periods, how long it's going to take, who to contact. You might be fortunate to have something like that. Sorry. You might be fortunate to have a mentor and a coach. Okay, so where I work in geology, in the Sasol Mining Geology Department, every young graduate has a mentor and a coach. We don't, it's compulsory. Okay, so I'm a mentor to a few people, I'm a coach to a few people. Other of my colleagues, if I'm not a mentor, she's the coach, or she's the mentor if I'm the coach. So we try to implement that to every graduate because we see it's quite important. People must start out on a base with somebody. When you start working, there is something called a performance contract. Okay, it is something that you sign with you and your manager, indicating all the points that you need to complete within a year. Okay, and that will guide you as to what jobs you need to complete within your career for that financial year. And your bonus and your salary is based on that. So there's a merit system. Okay, you can be a non-performer, you can be a developer, you can be a full performer, you can be an exceptional performer. Other industries have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E. There's ratings. So industry has a rating system, and what you get decides what salary increase you're going to get and what bonus you're going to get. Okay, based on your performance contract, what you've achieved in there. Okay. However, it's also important to note, getting dismissed is real. If we employ a graduate or industry employs a graduate, we expect you to do the work within a certain amount of time and buckle up within that period. We cannot have you feeling overwhelmed for 3 years. That's not on. Okay, it doesn't work like that. You need help then. Okay, and if you cannot do the job, unfortunately there is processes in place that will get rid of you, and the next person will come in and take your job. Okay, so that's a reality of industry. You need to buckle up within a certain time frame, do the job, get on with it, improve it, and take it forward. Okay, and lastly, guys, becoming a professional. I put this slide last because for me it is one of the most important things when you start working, being a professional. Okay. I give a course to the mining graduates on professionalism and business presentation skills, so I just put some of the slides. It's a bit fuzzy here, but this one says first impressions. So making a first impression when you meet a person for the first time, it's important. Your dress code. You might find wherever you're going, you cannot dress the way you've dressed in university. Okay. Fortunately, in Sasol, from the way I look at you guys, that's fine. The way you guys are dressing is fine. But other industries require you to be more professional. If you go into exploration, you're required to wear more outdoor gear. So it depends on what industry you're going to be in. The language that you use, all those swearing, talking jargon, talking slang, has to fall away when you talk in industry. You can talk to your friends like that, but you can't talk to a colleague like that. Okay, I got something on routines and meetings. Meetings are a reality. I can go somewhere between 1 to 10 meetings in a week. Okay, it's quite hectic. It can get very hectic with meetings. I'll skip housekeeping, and the last point here is networking. I know Sue is very big on networking, and she has those elevator talks. Networking is vital. If you cannot network efficiently, you miss out on opportunities. Okay. If you see someone, a professional, and you want to talk to them, go up to them, ask them what they're doing, ask them if there's an opportunity for them, network with them, find out who they are, find out what they're doing. It is a skill which you can start learning from now. So whatever Sue and her team and Priyanka and them are teaching about networking, please listen to it, take it with you, practice it, because when you start working, it's something that can get you quite far. Who you know can get you far. Okay. So guys, that's it from me. I hope you learned something. Industry is a tough place. Not everyone survives. We've had some people that buckles under the pressure and leaves, and that's fine too. Not everything is meant for everybody. But the idea is to start getting the skills while you're at varsity to help you go better. And there is some stuff you can already start with, especially if you're a third year and an honors student. Okay. If there's any questions, you are free to ask me. I think we still have some time, Priyanka. You do. Yes?
What is the difference between a mentor and a coach?
A mentor and a coach. A mentor, so let me start with a coach first. A coach gives you on-the-job training. So for instance, if I have a graduate and she needs to know how to map underground, I would go with her and teach her how to map. It's on-the-job training. Okay. A mentor is someone that gives you guidance over your career, long term. Okay. So a mentor will be someone, I want to become a lecturer in structural geology. How can I get to that point? Okay. Then a mentor will guide that person. Okay, start mapping, start speaking to this person. Within the next 5 years, you must achieve this, do your master's, do your PhD, eventually get into structural geology. Okay, so mentor, a coach on the job training, mentor long-term, a career, more career aspirations. Okay, any other questions? Cool. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoyed the talk. I hope you learned something. Thank you. Thank you very much, Priyanka. Thanks. I really enjoyed it.
I'm sure we all learned something. It was fun, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Guys, if you have any questions, there's my email. Please feel free to pop me an email for a question. I can tell you now, I don't entertain, excuse me, can you just keep quiet for a second? I don't entertain stuff like, do you have a job for me? Do you have a bursary for me? Don't do that, because that is a process. You can go online and apply for those things. I don't have the capabilities of doing that. But any other question that you have, please feel free. I'll gladly answer it for you. Okay. Thank you.